Hi there, welcome to my Amish neighbors. Thank you for coming. And today I'm going to answer a question that a lot of people have asked. Do the Amish use a Bible? And if they do, which one? And I want to go ahead and separate it by the different sects that I've talked about in a previous video that I have up here. There are lots of divisions, lots of different small sects and things like that, but these are the four main ones that I always talk about. And I'll let you know which Bible, if any, that each sect uses. Before we start, I'm going to bring up a chart, and it's going to show you basically when those different sects formed, and it's a real quick chart so you can get a visual of what I'm talking about. Hey, don't forget to subscribe. I want to thank all of you for subscribing to my channel and for supporting me. And if you haven't, go ahead and subscribe now. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you. I wanted to start real quick with this chart, just to give you a very quick review. But the Anabaptist movement began in the 1500s, and this is when the Protestant Reformation took place. This is when Martin Luther decided that he questioned a lot of things that the Catholic Church was doing. And then along the way, you see some of these other Menno Simons broke away, Jacob Ammon. All these men were actually Catholic priests or Catholic leaders. They weren't just people that came along and decided they didn't want to agree. And they really studied the word and didn't agree with some of the rules that were going on with the Catholic Church. So that's why they broke away. Now, Martin Luther was kind of the catalyst that started it because he was the one that spoke out the most. And he actually developed a Bible. He translated it from Hebrew into German. And that is the one that a lot of your Schwarzentruber Amish use and your Old Order Amish will use, especially in their church services. So it's actually a Bible that Martin Luther translated, but it's in German. So that's where they get their a lot of their a lot of their services are in German, and High German or Pennsylvania Dutch German, depending on where they live. Both your Schwarzentruber and your Old Order Amish attend church every other week. Both take turns rotating into the family homes. And what they do is if the group gets too large, let's say there's 30 families in this one community and there's getting to be too many people for them to serve every other Sunday, then they might break off into two groups. So it's not usually over arguing over a rule or something. A lot of times those small divisions happen by family or little communities, even though they still are Old Amish or Schwarzentruber Amish. So I just wanted to make that point. All divisions aren't over something that they're fighting about. The Old Order Amish will use the King James Version, and they read it in their home as well. Now, again, I say this all the time. Everything I'm saying are general. You could have a different Old Amish order group that maybe stopped using the German Bible, and others will. But in general, from my friend, these are the rules that they follow. So every other week they have service. What do they do on the off weeks? That's when they spend time. You got to remember, Amish will work from Monday through Saturday. They do not work or have any business transactions, phone calls, nothing on Sunday. Sunday is dedicated to their family or to church. It's their day of rest. And if they're not having service, which usually lasts about 3 hours, then they will visit family or just go. All right, let's go ahead and talk now about the New Order Amish. Your New Order Amish are kind of like your next progressive group. They use more technology and things like that. But it's interesting, they still use the German Martin Luther Bible in their church services. So they've pretty much hang on to that. And they do their services in German, but they will use the King James translation. And then those of you that don't know what that is, it's just the English version of the Bible instead of being in German or Hebrew or Greek. And some of them will even use the international version, the new international version, which is the NIV, which is a little bit more progressive. So basically, though, they're all hanging on to that German translation and that Martin Luther Bible that they use in their church. And I found even with the Beachy Amish, it's the same thing. They might supplement some different translations into their service where others won't. But again, they're a little bit more moderate, a little bit more progressive than the others. And so they will allow their text in there. I was curious about something as I was researching this, and I'm going to go ahead and research it and give you the answer. But I was wondering if they allow English people to attend their services. So that was a question that I came up with as I was researching this. So I did ask my Amish neighbor about this. And one of the interesting things is they don't really invite the English to come to their services. And it's not because they don't agree with English or anything like that, but it's because they don't want to seem like they're being just demonstrative with their faith. They just want to practice their faith, and they just want to keep everything very simple. So going out and trying to seek people and inviting them would be probably a little bit demonstrative, if that makes sense. So that's really the reason that they don't do that. Now, we did have a friend or somebody that my husband worked for, and he was getting married, and he did invite us to the wedding. We weren't able to go, which was a bummer, but it was about 8 hours away. But the thing that he told us, my husband even said, well, are we allowed to go? Like, how does that work? And he said, basically, they would have had their service, which would have been 3 or 4 hours long, and the English were allowed to attend just for the last 30 minutes. So they do allow English to come to the wedding, which I thought was interesting. So again, you're looking at differences from district to district, whether or not they allow people to come in. It's just that the biggest thing I felt that was a common among all of them is they don't go out and seek people or try to convert people, but they will share their faith, if that makes sense. If you ask them questions, they will be happy to talk about it, but they're not going to initiate any of those conversations. I hope this was helpful. The question obviously was, what Bible do they use? And we can pretty much sum it up that they use the Martin Luther German Bible, and they use the King James Version mostly. Those are the two standard Bibles that they use, and they do have a Bible in their home. It's not just a church. All right. Keep asking questions. Thank you for coming, and I will see you on the next video.